Hi, welcome back to Spiritual Compass with me, Gary Guerrier. Today I have like a special guest all the way from Japan, David Weiss. Hi, David. I wanted to welcome you to my podcast. It's a pleasure and thank you for taking time all the way from Japan to join me.
Hey, Gary, it's good to be here. Or good to be there.
Before we get started, you want to tell us a little bit about you?
A little bit about me. I'm in my 60s. Can't believe that happened so quickly. I'm a young 60-year-old, and I've been a dad. I'm still a dad. I've been a husband. I'm not a husband anymore. Did that for 25 years, and I love both those roles. I'm single now. I'm loving that. I've done a lot of work on in therapy. I'm trying to figure out kind of some of my childhood drama and how that's played out in my adult life. And I feel really proud of the work I've done on that. And as a result, I've been mentoring some guys. I've been mentored by some great people, including yourself. I work in entertainment. I'm getting a text right now to remind me to shut off my phone. So I'm gonna shut that off. There we go. And I always do that. I always have someone text me to say, hey, shut off your phone. And I'm here in Japan working on an animated film that I'm really excited about. I wrote it a while ago, and I'm directing for the first time, which has really been just a blast. I mean, I've actually done a lot of directing, but my first feature length project.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good. So it leads me to the topic I'd like to talk today about, decisiveness, right? And how does that affect you, right? From now in your life, how do you handle it? And we can talk about it.
Well, I like this topic, Gary, because it's something that I've really been taking a long journey on. When we started working on some of the things in my life that I wanted to strengthen and some of the things I wanted to improve, one of them was something you always called, it was being wishy-washy. And
Right.
I was guilty as charged. I was kind of wishy-washy. I could be really decisive in some areas, but then in other areas, I would just be kind of all over the map. I'd make big decisions and then regret them, and then I'd try and change them, and then I'd play back and forth. And people weren't happy, and I wanted them to be happy, so then I would adjust them. And it was just sort of a confusing circus of indecision and being wishy-washy. And it's funny, when I went through my divorce, which was a very difficult time. And I went to see a rabbi, a dear friend of mine who was teaching me some Talmud at the time. And he's, when we kind of came to this realization that it was time to move out of the house, I went to see him the night before I moved out. And he said, David, don't be like the United States. I said, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And he goes, have you been to the airport? I said, yeah. He said, have you seen TSA? And I said, yeah. He says, what do they do? I said, they check your bags and let's make sure there's nothing in there. And he goes, no, they react. There's a shooting down the hall, they run down the hall. There's a scuffle over here, they run over here. He said, have you been to Israel? I said, yeah. He said, what do they do? I said, they look you in the eye and they ask you a lot of questions over and over again. He said, yeah, they don't react. They anticipate, and they make a decision and they stick with the plan. And as a result, it tends to be in those airports, even though it's a very dangerous situation over there, it tends to be statistically, thank God, safer. No guarantees, but generally speaking, it's the business of being prepared and making a decision and having a plan and sticking to it. So then he used the words that you use, and it threw me. He said, David, don't be wishy-washy.
No way.
Yes. And I was like, oh my God, did Gary call him? He said, when you leave the house, people are going to say stuff and you're going to be tempted to change your decision.
Right.
This is the right decision. It's a painful decision. It's a grief-filled decision, but it's a thoughtful, well thought out, well-reasoned, appropriate decision. It's been coming a long time.
Where do you think that comes from? That, indecisive, wishy-washy, as we call it. When you look back, where do you think that comes from?
Well, looking back, it's really clear to me. It was a lack of self-esteem. It was a lack of believing that I was worthy even to make decisions. And I was desperately relying on the opinion of others to make me feel good about myself. So if I made a decision and then someone wasn't happy about it, I suddenly doubted the decision because they weren't happy.
Right.
There's that slogan you see in a bumper sticker every now and then: principles above personalities.
Right.
I would reason out as like, here's my decision. And then what I didn't anticipate was people not being happy with it. And
Right.
suddenly my knees buckle because I needed people to be happy with me. I needed
Right.
people to like me because I was deep down, without knowing it, because I come off as a very confident guy, I think,
Right.
and I've done a lot in my life. I thank God I've had a lot of success in a lot of ways. And but the whole time I was a nervous wreck up until recently. And I
Right.
think it comes down to that issue of not having faith that I'm okay, even if people aren't happy with the decisions I make.
Right. And it's really funny how we do that. We rely on, the approval and validation of others. Um, you know, uh, one of my friends told me that he never made a decision, right? He only asked other people about the decision. Hey, what do you like? What do you want to do? What do you? And I was like, wow, that is really incredible how it stems from way back and how it is right now. And so now, right, how does it work? Does it
Well,
still
it's
link?
funny. We had a call just before we had this call, because I called you to tell you about a decision I was thinking about. And now what we do is the pause that you have in your book, in your spiritual compass. But where's that book? Let me see the book. I see the logo back there. There it is. There's that
Compass.
book. I'm
Yeah,
pimping your book because I'm proud of my little forward in there. I want people to read my forward.
which is amazing, by the way. Um,
It's just me telling the truth. But you have in there about pausing, and you say, but pause, observe, and process. And I never did that. That was not a tool in my toolbox. I get a feeling. Oh, I have a feeling. I have to act on it. I have to act on my feelings.
right,
And I would. I'm in love with this girl right now. I got to tell her. you know, she's really pretty and she wants to go to New York. I got to buy a ticket. Um, and then I would wake up and go, oh crap, I'm going to New York with someone I don't know very well. And that didn't end up happening, but it almost happened.
right,
And a lot of those kinds of decisions, and I don't do that anymore very often. Once in a blue moon, I get ahead of myself. Again, I'm going to keep quoting your book. I love, and I quote this everywhere I go, and people are like, "Oh, that's amazing." And I say, "Yeah, my friend Gary, um, all the feelings have a seat in the car. They just don't get to drive."
exactly,
And it used to be there were a lot of hands on the steering wheel of my car. Any feeling that came up, I felt like I had to do something about it. I
right,
have a feeling. I miss this person. I got to call her. I'm angry at that person. I got to tell them. I'm jealous of this person. I got to do something to get ahead. No. I was walking once with this Rabbi Manis Friedman. He has a book. He has a bunch of great books. But anyway, we were walking along, and someone said, I really got this thing with my wife. I got to get this off my chest. And Rabbi Friedman said, why? Just leave it there. Why do you have to get it off there? Why can't it just stay on your chest?
right.
It's where it belongs. And it was such a mind-blowing idea that you have a feeling, you don't just blurt it out. I think it's important that we get to express our feelings, but we don't have
Because
to just say everything that comes into.
you know, they're important. They all have a seat in the car, and
Right.
you can't, bypass your feelings. You have to acknowledge those feelings. Um, but I have to tell you, David, your journey has been just absolutely fantastic. I really see um, your growth and your work that you've taken the time to put in. Because what people don't realize, it takes a lot of work to work on yourself. It really does, and it's not an easy task. And you know, I want to share with all the people watching this podcast just how much work that you've done and how amazing it has been to see your journey, um, and how it continues.
Well, I have to do that because otherwise you kick my ass. You know? Just to wrap up that, wrap up the question that you said was, well, what's different now? And now it is, I pause and I think about that decision, and I think about how people are going to feel about it. And I ask myself this question: is it the right decision? And I need to have integrity. So if this is what I really want, I think this is what's best or what's right, what other people think of it is not part of the equation.
No.
And what's changed is I've been working hard on developing a faith, that I have a higher power, that I'm going to be taken care of. I can let the chips fall because they're going to fall into the hands of someone more powerful than myself. And that gives me the confidence. Then I make some phone calls. I call you, I call some friends. I say, hey, I'm making this tough decision about this thing. It may make me feel kind of lonely or upset, or people might not like me as much or whatever. And I know other people have my back, and I no longer put that decision in the hands of the people it's affecting. I keep it much closer with the people that are supporting me, myself, my higher power, siblings,
Beautiful.
people I trust. And then I can live with the consequences. And the result has been a lot more serenity and a lot less wishy-washiness. And people respect my decisions more now. They may not like them when they first hear them. They might not like me when they first hear them. But as a friend of mine who wrote a book called Spiritual Compass once said, they may not like you, but they will respect you. And I feel like that's happening more and more in my life. And I really am grateful for it.
Well, I appreciate you joining me all the way from Japan. And it's wonderful to see you continued success and continued great work on yourself. I love you. Have a beautiful, amazing day since it's night here. So thank you so much for joining the podcast. I really appreciate you. And I hope you like it. Leave a comment and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Until next time,
Thanks,
I'm
Gary.
Gary with David Weiss. Thank you.
Thank you.